This little box right here is doing way more than it has any right to. Deck building, dungeon crawling, hero upgrades, village building, and yeah, you're probably gonna die. But this is, it's very cool, and I'm blown away by it. So, let's break it down. Well, hi, hello, everybody. My name is Turk. Welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Around here with all different kinds of TTRPG things. But that's right, today we're talking about Die in the Dungeon, the Dungenerator. This is really cool by RollinKunz. I am so excited to finally get my hands on this bad boy. I've been waiting, I've been looking, I've been trying to get my hands on it. They did a Kickstarter, right? They're doing another print run. They've got all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about it in today's video. But before we do, I do want to give a big shout out to my friend at RollinKunz because RollinKunz, I hope I'm saying it right, because they were kind enough to send over this copy to me for the purposes of making some video content on it, and they're just such a rad dude. And the reason they sent it to me is because they're actually celebrating the fact that they have their own web store now where you can actually purchase these. So that will be linked below directly to their web store where you can get these things. And before I even get into what it is and everything, I want to tell you it's so cool. I think that with some expansions, this thing could be friggin' top tier, dude. So what I want you to do is if you're considering getting this thing, please consider it, because if it gets enough support and enough love, I'm really hoping that Rollin will get in there and make some more expansions and expand on this thing, because it's just sick, dude, okay? It's just sick. So click on that link and let me know what you think in the comments, all right? But before we get to the rest of the video, I do want to give a big shout out to our channel members and Ko-Fi supporters. Because of your guys' support, this channel right here gets to remain authentic and awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You friggin' rock, dude. And I think I've already said enough jibber jabber, okay, about it. Really, truthfully. So what are we going to be doing in today's video here, Turkey, you say? Well, we're going to be doing a little bit of a review of this thing. We're going to do an overview of it as well, okay? We're talking about my first impressions. I am hoping I have enough time to do a little bit of an example of play for you to teach you how to play it if you already own it and you want to learn a little bit more about it. And at the end, we're going to do the review, okay? Complete overview of this bad boy because it deserves all the love. Truthfully, this is sick. So first up, we're going to talk about first impressions, all right? So you know what I'm thinking. Right out of the gate, this thing is small, obviously, okay? Like toss it in your backpack next to your dice bag, small. It is 1 to 2 players, meaning you can play by yourself. But it packs a friggin' punch. Literally, don't let the small form factor fool you, dude. This game is stacked full of cool stuff. Inside, you've got a deck building roguelike. You've got dice-based heroes. Each dice is one single hero. You've got dungeon crawling. You've got a little tower defense kind of vibe thing going on. And even a little mini-ish campaign kind of packed into it. Like, it's kind of sneaky how much this game actually has in it, okay? Additionally, the cards themselves that come with this bad boy, you've got your themed cards and everything, but also in this little starter set, you've got the Dungenerator. And these are little cards that you can use not even playing this game, okay? Let's say you're doing a solo game and you want to pull up a dungeon real quick. Well, you've got your dungeon tile maps right here that you can shuffle and randomly pull up, all right? And you know where you need to go. You've got yourself a cool little dungeon going right there already, all right? Super sick. And I think if you get the PDF, I think comes with bigger printouts, so you can actually use them as battle maps, which is also super sick. Okay, and there are 2 different decks of these that come with different tiles. There's Series 1 and there's Series 2. Very cool stuff. Now, back to what I was saying. The art on this, super clean, all right? The text on it is super readable, but also flavored in a super fun way, okay? Just enough flavor without getting in your way. You could read it, it's clean, there's enough art on here, this is cool, and I love Sharpie artwork. I love it so much, just the thick black ink artwork, I love it, and this has it, okay? Truthfully. This is one of those games where you open it expecting, oh, this is gonna be like a quick little thing, right? And then suddenly you're like, wait, why is this actually sick? I knew that I was gonna like it whenever I was talking to RollinKunz about it, but now that I've had it and I've played it and been messing with it, this is sick, dude. Now, the outside of it, okay, we'll talk about that a little bit. It's got that awesome matte finish on it, that matte cool finish that really just my brain loves. Same kind of matte finish you're gonna get on like Morkborg style games, Pirate Borg style games, and it's that awesome matte finish. The cards themselves are awesome card stock, okay? They're sick, they feel great, they're textured a little bit, we really dig them. They're that standard size, which we love to see. It also comes with 2 sets of dice for all you awesome dice goblins out there. One of them is black and yellow, the other one is green and pink. And I think the green and pink ones are super, super sick. Probably gonna use those during the actual play here. Let's take a look at them. All right, green and pink, black and yellow. So you've got your Morkborg and you've got your awesome Dungenerator dice right there, okay? It comes with a lot of stuff. When we whip it open, I'm going to show you everything else it comes with, okay? But this is my initial impressions. The size factor really works in its favor here. Everything that is stacked inside of this thing, and the fact that you can just bring it with you anywhere you want, right? You and a homie are just chilling and you want to play, roll some dice and have some fun while you're like throwing a couple back. You could take this with you to the house. You could have some fun, all right? If you're sitting somewhere, you've got an hour or two to kill and you don't want to be doom scrolling on your phone, this is sick, okay? This is a roguelike card builder. I think that any person who is a fan of this needs to have it. We're going to talk about that more in the review, all right? But for now, let's do a quick little, how does it work here, all right? We're going to, in the example of play, we're going to go through it a little bit in more detail. But just for you guys who want to see what's up, we're going to go through a quick little bit, how does it work, all right? In this game, you're not playing as characters, all right? You have a set of dice. You roll that dice, and the dice are your characters. So the number that it rolls on, that's their stat for that round, basically, okay? Your squad, basically here, a weak little D4 is your rogue dude. But when it comes to doing roguish little actions like sneaking or stealing or perceiving, you want a lower number. Your higher numbers are your brutish dudes, all right? Like your D20. And when it comes to killing monsters or surviving or whatever, you want a higher number. And it's easily explained in the game. So low dice, better at sneaky stuff. High dice, better at smashing faces. So if you roll a 4 and you're 20, you're kind of screwed. But if you roll a 4 and you're D4, you're kind of screwed, right? So you've already got this weird little strategy where your weakest dude might actually be your best loot goblin, right? This is happening when you roll your dice. Now the game loop is pretty simple, but it does get spicy at times, okay? You've got a deck of actions like moving, fighting, searching, prepping, whatever, which I'll pull out and show you later. Now you play cards on your turn. You can move your dice heroes into the dungeon, you flip over rooms, and deal with whatever nightmare might show up at the end of your turn or might activate on your turn. Meanwhile, you're also building up your village, trying to complete quests. There are village cards, and you got to do quests for them to fix up the buildings, like temples, taverns, town halls, cemeteries where your heroes go when they die. And these all can give you abilities like mid-run. So it's not just dungeon crawling, you're building up your little home base. And you're also collecting loot to build up your card deck. So it's like a little bit of a card builder. And of course, there are monsters in here, and the art on them are cool. There's a good variety of them. I will say there's only one big boss monster, which is going to be a little bit in my review. We're going to talk about that more, all right? But there's like a really cool mechanic with the mimics that can actually eat your hero and they consume them. It's fun as crap. So the goal overall in this is that you're building up your squad and your deck over multiple runs until you're strong enough to throw down with the final boss, which is the Lich. And you're probably going to lose along the way. Some heroes are going to die. It's going to happen a lot. But even when you lose, you're still progressing your deck and your village. So it never feels like a wasted run, okay? Much like a roguelike. That's what I'm talking about. I love roguelikes. Now, I think we've done enough jibber jabber about it, okay? So we're going to cut to the other guy. Once he's got time to do the example of play, he's going to come back and do a little bit of an example for you. When is that going to happen? I don't know. But we're going to get us a squad. We're going to get us a village. We're going to jump in. We're going to play a little bit. But I will say, if you're not interested in the example of play and you want just the full review, you can skip to the end, use the timestamps. Rock on. Well, hello, it is I, Future Turkey, here to do a actual example playthrough right here of this awesome game, okay? This is Future Turkey. So right now, we've got our layout going here, all right? We've got all the cards laid out the way that we need to. When you read through the instructions the first time, it's going to tell you, hey, separate the cards, and it's pretty easy to do that because they're all labeled and colored as they should be. I realize there's a little bit of reflection on the cards, all right? My lights ain't perfect right now, but I'll pull them up as we need, all right? So I've pretty much, I played through a whole little round of this, had some fun with it. But right now we're going to walk through this little booklet step by step, all right? And I'm going to kind of play it out, and you could join me in this. We might throw up some example situations, all right, just to kind of get some good examples going. But I really just kind of want to show off how fun this game is. There's a lot to it. There's a lot under the hood, like I said before. But once you get it, it's just rad. This is like, it's just cool, all right? So we're going to walk through it in the booklet, all right? And we're going to go through it step by step. So we got a fun, awesome introduction talking about the world here. We're not going to get into too much of that, but I do want to point out that right here in this little booklet, it says it's technically possible to win a campaign in a single session. Look, that's going to be a long session. I was going to let you know that right now. But it's probably going to be over, 6 to 7 sessions is what it says. And I think that that's totally fair. But we grow by collecting loot, training our heroes, teaching them powerful hero actions, acquiring gear, and rebuilding our village. So there are some golden rules here, all right? One of each type of card can go in each room. We'll talk about rooms later. And don't flip over cards unless you're told to, which always draw from the bottom because these cards are double-sided, right? So you're going to want to draw from the bottom so it leaves you with some surprise. And don't flip them over until you're told to because that's going to leave you extra surprise, especially when it comes to loot reflection's hard to see. When it comes to loot right here, the actual item is on the other side, at least most of the time. You don't want to flip it over until you earn it, and it leaves that level of surprise. Super sick mechanic. Simple, but effective. So we have winning and losing conditions here as well. So if all of your buildings in your village get damaged, because it's kind of like a tower defense thing as well, which is crazy, that's also packed in here. If a monster gets past your heroes or goes through an extra entrance or whatever, they'll damage one of your buildings. And if all your buildings get damaged, which I'll show you some buildings in a second, then you lose. Your whole village is destroyed. Also, if monsters can't spawn because of an empty monster deck or no rooms that they can inhabit, which means you haven't been killing any of the monsters, then you also lose. And lastly, if every single one of your heroes dies, you also lose. Those are your losing conditions. When you win by killing the boss monster at the very end. That's pretty much it. There are other rules here though as well about ending your session. It'll say like your session is over. It isn't on this page, but it is in here. But moving on, we have our heroes. So another cool thing I talk about in this game, I've talked about, I think I did, is the heroes in this. So each one of your dice represents a hero. There are 2 sets of dice because this game can be 2 players. So he provides you with 2 sets of dice, which is sick. I mean, all of us have dice, but the fact that he provides it means that people who don't know this game can just play. So we've got these cool green ones, which is what we're going to use today. And each one of these dice represents one of your heroes. And they are awesomely illustrated right here on this fold out page. So we have the outlaw, the scout, the merchant, the archmage, the war priest, and the berserker. All right. And they go up in dice number. And it's fun too, because like these guys this way, you want their numbers to be as low as possible. And these guys this way, you want them as high as possible. I think that's just a fun. We'll talk about why in a bit. So now we have our turns, and we're going to follow this while we're actually playing. All right. But important things to remember is sometimes actions have costs, and there are icons in this game. And memorizing the icons is going to take a while. It's going to take a few playthroughs, I think. But there is a icon page is going to show you what icons are what. All right. But some actions have costs, and the cards will say that. So you don't really got to memorize that either. The card will tell you discard or pay loot or whatever. Now, faces and targets here in this game, you're going to see there is arrow up and arrow down. Arrow up means you need to meet or beat the number. And this way it means you need to meet or be lower than the number, right? And that's for sneaking and looting and then fighting and damaging. And here are some of our icons as well. So in hand, hero in room, on the table. On the table is important because it could be in hand or it could be on table, right? Ongoing, in battle, on reveal, and we're gonna be referencing this as we play. So each room in the dungeon, right, has an arrow on it, and you want the arrows to go towards an entrance, right? So like you have your entrance, you don't want the arrows to point away from your entrance, you want them to point towards it, because those arrows actually signify which way the monsters are gonna move once they spawn towards your entrance to, get to your village. So that's why you want your arrows to point. There are also dead end rooms in here in this game, and dead ends are kind of cool because you could actually search them for loot and extra kinds of fun shenanigans. And then we have all the icons for our special rooms. You'll see that the dungeon cards have these icons on them. We have dead end rooms, entrances to the dungeon. This is stairs. I was like, what is that? When I was first looking over it, it looks like a little demon tail or something to me. Like that's the tail of a monster, or like a croissant. It looks like a croissant to me, but those are stairs. So keep that in mind. Then we have secret passages, and this one here is expansion rooms. So rooms to add to an already placed room to create a single larger room. Very fun stuff. Then we have our monster page. Cool, nice color-coded pages. There are 2 different icons for monsters. There's like the mimic-looking icon, and then there's like the skull-looking icon. And whenever you we'll talk about it again, but whenever at the end of a turn you pull a monster card and you put it somewhere in an open entrance to a room, and that monster doesn't attack right away, but next time you pull a card that has the same matching symbol as that one, that's when it activates. And it goes in succession. So the next one you pull doesn't activate until you pull one again, right? Kind of like that. And once we pull a battle card, we'll come back to this page, but that's the basis of it. At the end of each player's turn, we draw a card from the bottom of the monster deck. We activate any monsters in play, starting from the lowest initiative, because monsters do have initiative numbers as well, right there next to the icon. And then we place the drawn monster into any room with an open passage, is what they're calling it, passage, right? And a passage is like an open area into another room, right? If there are no rooms in the dungeon with open passages, immediately place a new entrance near the village square and place the drawn monster into that entrance. So it's like, if you ain't killing off these monsters, they're going to start spawning closer to an entrance to start taking you out. So you got to do that. But also, if there's no open passages, like you've already been in all the rooms, same thing, same kind of deal. And this is important. So when a monster enters a room, because sometimes monsters will move on their turns, and if a monster enters a room that already has a monster in it, it'll just move past it. It's like, this has already been cleared out, I can just move again, right? It's like checkers, skipping over. I think it's the best explanation. And I think it works the same way for heroes as well, unless there's a monster in the way. Yeah, heroes can move through any number of adjacent rooms, including village squares, so you can just move them pretty much indefinitely until you reach an open passage, or you reach a monster whose stealth you can't beat. And we explore our rooms. Every time we put a hero into a room that has open passages, he then explores, so we draw new cards from the dungeon deck equal to the number of open passages on that room. Place the new room card so that their arrow icon points at each open passage, so towards the entrance of your dungeon. If the placement would cause any room cards to overlap, instead flip the room card to its dead inside. So one of the cool things, or the edge of the table, which is kind of fun. So if you're playing at a big table, you could have a really big dungeon. But I actually want to pull this out. So for today's example, we're actually going to use one of these hex maps here. This hex map is going to be kind of like our dungeon. I'm actually going to reorganize here for a sec. Let's get these dice out of the way. We'll put them in a box. Okay, so this is our hex map. We're gonna pretend this hex map is like the edge of our table, all right? And you can do this too. I actually kind of suggest that you do, because it kind of makes it fun. If a card would go off the edge at any point, you instead flip it and that becomes a dead end, right? So that's like the edge of the dungeon. So depending on how big you want your dungeon to be for that run, depends on how big you want your hex map to be. So I can actually open this up even more and do an even bigger dungeon if I want to. Since we're doing a small example today, we're just gonna use that. And these are our dice here. We're gonna put those there. And our player action deck is gonna... Fun stuff, okay? I know there's a lot of rules, a lot of explanation, but it's honestly sick, okay? It's friggin' sick. Yeah, am I talking about how sick this game is? All right, when we battle, the cool thing is that these monsters at the bottom, they have little numbers there. You see they're up numbers, which means we need to meet or beat them. And since there's two, we have to have two heroes in this room. Whenever this monster act, or whenever we go in there to battle, we could play a battle card to take them out. And when we do that, if we have two heroes with those big numbers, we can take them out, and that's great. Yes, it's a quick little explanation, but for the whole thing, battles are settled either one of two ways. Either a player initiates the battle by playing a battle card, or a monster initiates one when it activates. So if you have one hero in a room and the monster activates, that isn't high enough, that's not good. At the end of a battle, any heroes in the battle room that have not been killed have survived and are immediately re-rolled. So anytime you do an action in a room, you re-roll your hero to give a new number. They can go up or they can go down, like they gain experience or they're tired. And I love that narrative idea of re-rolling. So when we win a battle, winning a battle will wound the monster, flipping its card to its reverse side, or kill it, discarding it to the top of the monster deck, sunny side up. I should mention, all these cards out like this, you want them to be sunny side up. So there's a sun on this side, and then on the opposite side, there's a moon, all right? So that's how you kind of keep track. It's just simple effect. So sunny side up. When the heroes lose a battle, the active player must choose one of the heroes in that battle room to be killed. Just one, right? One of them to be killed. The chosen hero is then placed into the cemetery, which I'll show you in a second. Getting devoured. This is what the mimic does, is it devours people. Really cool, and is denoted by that little stomach symbol right there. And if a hero gets devoured, the dice actually fits perfect on that. So you can actually put them in there. You know that they're devoured. It's freaking sick. Anyways, devoured heroes are removed from their room and placed into the monster's card, into their stomach. It devours another hero. If it devours another hero, the first one is killed. When the monster is killed, the devoured hero is then spit up, which is fantastic. So you got to kill that guy before anything else. And its action on there will tell you devour, right? It has, when it gets activated, if there's a hero in the room with it, will kill. If there isn't a hero in the room with it, it'll hide. So we also have rules for treasure rooms. All right, treasure rooms can be looted for treasure. There's only like 4 of them, I think. A player with a hero in the same room as a loot card can take the search action on that card. All heroes in that room are re-rolled, and if any of their new faces meet the loot's search's target, the loot is now added. So you got to re-roll them bad boys, right? Once heroes know about the loot, they have to actually... Now we have gear and traps, and so gear is similar to loot. Most gear is on the back sides of loot cards and is obtained by appraising loot, and you have to appraise loot, and you could appraise loot. A lot of the loot cards have... So before you can flip this, now that you have it, you got to appraise it, and to be able to appraise this one, this is the discard symbol. You got to discard 4 cards. So then you can appraise it and you'll flip it and you'll know what's on the other side. I'm not going to show you what the loot is because we might draw that in our play here. So the boss monster comes out when you have 4 treasure rooms or 4 entrances are added to the dungeon. And then we have village and village quests. The village consists of the village square, which is just an area on the table. And there is actually an example of that back here. How did I skip that? Somehow I skipped it. Oh, it's because it's right on that page there. So this is like our village square here. I have a full layout example, but you can kind of set out yours however you want. This is how I set out mine. It's up to you however you want to do it. So at the beginning of the campaign, the village deck contains the town hall, tavern, temple, and cemetery, all on the backs of the cards, of the quick setup cards, which are these here, which we're going to do in a second. The village square is adjacent to all entrances and counts as a room for all player action. Then we have village quests, which are cool. Village quests are goals. They can be completed during single sessions. I can't talk today. The 2 village quest cards drawn during setup represent different residents of the village requesting help. So we actually draw 2 cards at the start and then try to continue doing. Then there are hero quests specifically, which are kind of fun, and there's way way more hero quests than anything else, but they lead to more powerful rolls, and I think they're a little bit harder to achieve. Like, these are all hero quests, double the size of the town quests. Oh my gosh, quadruple the size. So hero quests are short-term goals that add unique and powerful actions called hero actions to a player's deck. A hero may draw and place a hero quest from the hero quest deck into the dungeon by taking the gossip action at the town hall building. Incomplete hero quests are stored in their owner's action deck and placed in front of them at the start of the next session. Now we have drop in and drop out, which is kind of fun, and we have leveling up, which I talked about, the drop in and drop out, right? And if you play with someone else, you can go through those rules. But after each game session, you collect the buildings in the village and you add them to your village deck. You collect all your cards, you add them to your action deck. You flip one basic action in your deck to its train side, and you place your deck cover card back on top of your action deck. So I have these two decks separated, right? Player 2, and then over here is player 1, and you keep these separated forever. So in my mind, player 2 comes and plays, they build up their action deck, and then you keep that to the side forever, right? So they keep their actions. If they want to come back and play again, you've got their action. Cool. Now we have our icons page, which is, I told you about this in the beginning. This is fantastic. We can re-reference this whenever we need to. And in the back, then we also have more, and then scratch and sniff right there. I don't know what that smells like. Cheeseburgers. Wow, that's pretty good. And then we got all the legal stuff. So here at the front, I skipped this page. Before your first game, you're going to do all the quick start stuff. All right. So set aside the quick setup and player turn order deck cards. Make sure every other card's sunny side is facing up. Separate the cards by their type, which we have already done. Okay, so we're going to do all these quick setup things real quick. Hope we can stop the glare here so you can read a little bit better. Okay, setup A is to designate our village square, which is going to be our little map here. And on top of it is going to be all these cards. Place the 4 quick setup cards and any building cards in your village deck adjacent to the village square. Roll all 6 of your player dice. So this is where the fun part comes in. You roll them once, all right? And you keep those numbers. So don't knock them over, don't tip them, don't do anything else, right? These are our numbers. Wow, that's a 6 on our D20. It's not looking good, folks. And I actually like to place them next to each other in order from highest to lowest. A 3 there, got a 5 there, 4. Our D4 landed on a 4. I hate these D4s. I'm going to mention it every time I see them. Got a 3, and our D10 got a 2. Wow, real bad. Okay, so these are our starting stats here. Shuffle the village quest cards. Draw 2 of them and place them near the village. So we have our village quest cards here. That's these bad boys right here. We're going to shuffle these up. And in this game, you always want to draw from the bottom, all right? I turned down that light. It looks so much better in here. That's crazy. I didn't realize how bright that was. All right, from the bottom, we got our 2 village quests. Ruined Workshop and Fractured Forge. So whenever we complete one of these, our session ends. Remember I said earlier, the session ends, right? So our quest, players may discard killed monsters onto this card. After we have on the table 3 killed monsters discard onto this card, we complete this. Return the cards here to the monster deck, flip this card over and place it into the village, and then the game ends. So we can do one of these or one of these. And these are 2 different icons, so we actually kind of lucked out. So we can work on both of those while we're doing this. And they're both basically the same, all right? We have 3 of these monsters or 4 of those monsters. And those are our quests. All right, and then it says to flip over this card, and it has a little example here at the bottom of what everything should look like to kind of like keep you going here. But now that we flip over this card, we can see that that is our town hall right there. And we can actually gossip, like it said, at the town hall. If we discard 2, or if we discard a loot, we can gossip. We can draw a hero quest and place it onto a dead end. Sick, right? Self-explanatory. Now, quick setup B, remove any dungeon room cards without the dead ends on their backside. So now we're gonna pull up our dungeon cards, and these are pretty simple too. I tried to keep them organized as best that I could through my couple plays already. All right, gotta check out our scratch and sniff. It's like blueberry. Oh, it's pretty good. But yeah, actually want to show that off because that's RollinKunz right there. RollinKunz right there. It's very good. Thank you for supporting my work. It really means a lot, dude. What you're doing means a lot. All right. Now on the back of that, we have our room icons to help us a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and keep this on the table though while we play, right? Now, even though quick setup B has how to do it, there's also a prepare the dungeon deck on this card itself, all right? So remove any dungeon room cards without the dead end on the back of them. So you'll see I have them organized as best I can. Basically, the entrance cards on the back of the entrance cards, which are these ones here, they have stairs. And that's another entrance card. We have our 3 entrances. There's 4 of them, I think. Yeah, there are 4 entrances. And then we have 4 secret rooms. And the secret rooms just have more secret rooms on the other side, all right? So those are the ones that we remove. Oh, and also there are 4 loot cards in there. But my loot cards are still shuffled into the deck. But you're gonna wanna separate them as best that you can and then shuffle up, all right? So you can see I actually just found one right there. There's a loot card. All right, you're gonna wanna shuffle up. Put them in there, shuffle them up, good to go. Divide the deck into 4 piles, like it said. Shuffle the treasure room into each pile. Place 1 entrance card adjacent to the village square with its open passage pointing away. And then we flip the card. So we're going to pick one of these passages, just any one of these that we want to use. I kind of like this one because it's straightforward. This is going to be our entrance into, whoops, that was 2. The toughest part is making sure these dice, we're going to flip this over. So that's our temple. This is going to be our entrance into the dungeon right there. And I like to do it this way. Every time I roll a new dungeon up, I like to put it under a building. Helps me that way, but that's our entrance. Cool, yeah. And the back of this just has the same exact thing. And then on the other side, it tells you how to dungeonerate, all right? Has some little extra rules for how to, like, you know, put the rooms together. Easy peasy. Squeeze. Move this up a little bit. Yes, can. All right, we'll do it like that. Okay, we have other entrances. We're just going to set them to the side, along with our secret rooms. Those will come into play later. Now, our third quick setup card. Place the dungeon deck X side down at the edge of the table. So we'll put it at the edge of our map. Shuffle the traps into the loot deck, which we already did previous games. As you can see, there's a pit trap in there. The traps are the red ones. You're going to shuffle those together. And then shuffle the hero quest, gear, village, and monster decks separately and place them sunny side up. So hero quest, gear cards, which literally hired hand was tripping me out. All right. Gear, which is only a couple, honestly. Then our village cards and our monster cards. We'll shuffle these again. I think actually the lich card, there it is. This is our big boss guy. We'll put him over there because we ain't getting to him today. But he is really tough looking, right? And I like doing it like this, you know, just kind of like playing it, setting it out on the table, because I really feel like at home, this is how you guys are going to be playing it too. You know what I mean? Like this is the way it's going to look, kind of everything set out and spread out, you know what I mean? And I just think that that's, you know, cool to see like an actual play of it, right? Okay, set the boss monster aside. It even knows the boss monster. It only has one. And then we get to flip the card. And this becomes our cemetery. So this is where people go when they die. Obvi. Okay, set up D. Each player shuffles their action deck and places their deck cover on top, which is this is our deck cover, player action 1. Each player draws 5 cards from their deck, and then player 1's turn begins, and we get to flip our card. So I'm going to shuffle this up here. We're going to draw 5. 1, 2, 3. We'll do it from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. And then we'll put our action deck right back here, just so we know. And this has everything we kind of need to know what's going on. It has all of our characters, all right? Outlaws, mercenaries, up to our berserkers. And then the other side, we have our turn order. So we can play, which is the hand symbol, actions from our cards in our hand and or in the room / on the table. Actions from cards on the table. Right. Pay each action's cost by discarding cards. Choose to keep or discard any remaining cards in your hand, and draw cards from the bottom of your deck until you have 5 again. Draw a monster card, activate any traps that share its icons, then place the drawn monster in the dungeon. Bing bang. Very good. Very easy. Very simple. So I don't know where I want to set. I guess right. And we're going to keep our icons out on the table because our icons are going to help us out a lot. There's a lot of icons you got to play with. You got to remember. So we're going to. Oh, and I forgot to flip this. Flip it now. Tavern damaged. And each one of these has a ability. So if we get killed, that's where they go. This has resurrect at the temple, so we can discard 3 cards to resurrect somebody. Choose a hero in the cemetery. Roll that hero and place them back in the village square. Then we have our tavern. So discard all cards in your hand, then draw the same number of cards. We can carouse, so we can do whatever, right? And this is technically on the table. But if you see, it has that symbol, so it's like if someone is in this space. So you're going to keep people, this is technically the village square. And this is where all my heroes are currently, in the village square. Right, but we have our basic moves, and they do level up, all right? There are ways you can level up your moves. And on the back, see how it's the moon right there instead of the sun. You can level up your moves, which is kind of fun. But for now, they're all sun moves. And I think for now, we just want to move somebody just to get an example of play. So we're going to take our 5, I guess, and we're going to put them in the entrance. So we have move. We're going to discard that card. We've just played it. Now, once we move, we explore. When a hero is in a room with at least one open passage, they immediately end their movement and explore that room. When we explore, we draw new cards from the dungeon deck equal to the number of open passages, and we place them down. So we're going to draw from the bottom here. We've got one, this one here. Oh, wow. Looks like we have to go out that way. So maybe let's start our dungeon a little bit more in the center. All right, that's our first open room. And I love the way that they go together. It just looks beautiful, awesome, sick. It's nice. Place the new cards so their arrow points towards the entrance. And then that's it. That's it for move. All right. Now we got another move. We have battle and we have prepare. We're going to battle, I think, at the end of our turn. But for this turn, we're not going to be doing that. Goodness. I guess we're just going to move again. That's what we're going to do. And I want our strongest guy to be out front. So we're going to move the 9 over here. And the 9 immediately, then we're going to discard that. Immediately explores. So we're going to pull a card from the bottom here. This one. That's looking room. He has explored. Okay. So now we can prepare, which I think is a good idea. Prepare allows us to re-roll any number of heroes in our hero's room, and we discard this card. So I think they're all in here. We definitely want to re-roll our 20 and our 10. Oh, we have both of our 10s. Do we have 2 10s? No, we're only supposed to have 1 10. So we'll just get rid of that. Whoopsie. But we're going to keep this one. We're going to re-roll it though, still. So we're going to re-roll these 2 by preparing. That's an 11 and a 5. That's so much better. Okay, we can't move anymore. We have 2 battle cards. I think we keep them, but now that means we need to draw 3 more cards to make our hand 5. 1, 2, 3. Now we have 5 cards. Anytime that your deck is empty, you just reshuffle it, which is going to happen a lot, I think. And now we're going to end our turn. So at the end of our turn, as it says here, we draw a monster card. We activate any monster traps that share, but we don't because there's not any yet. But we're going to draw our first monster card here from the bottom. The skeletons. And they've got this icon here, and they have 6 for their initiative. When no one is in the room, they march 1 towards the village. If someone is in the room, they attack. Now, to sneak past them, we need to have a 5 or lower. And to battle them, we need to have 6 or up or 4 or up. Both of them. And if we win, we flip the card and we keep it. So it's going to turn into something. But for now, we just have our skeletons. And they're going to go right there on that little dungeon. This room, so we know where they are. Actually, I'm going to put it right there. Well, technically, they're supposed to go on the entrance. So that's fine. And now it's back to the top of our turn. So we need a 6 and a 4 to defeat them. So technically, both of these guys can take them out. But I want to move someone else into the dungeon. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And they're in this room here. The best way to think about it is you need an open passage. So we think narratively that the skeletons have come into this room from that open passage that we haven't yet to explore yet. So we're going to move. We still have our 2 battle cards, so that's fine. So we're going to move one of your heroes, I didn't read this yet, to any room or the village square and discard this card. Heroes that do not meet a monster sneak target must stop in its room. So he definitely doesn't meet the sneak target, but he's way above them where he needs to be, right? But since he has entered into this room, we now get to explore a little bit, which I think is cool. I like exploring. So we're going to draw another explore card here from the bottom. Still another single entrance, and it has to go out that way. We've made us a small little area, but that's cool. This is a fun way for us to example this, right? So since this technically goes off, quote unquote, our table, this is going to be a dead end right here. So now we actually have a dead end. And dead ends are cool because we also have the search card. So we can search for loot in the dead end room, right? And since this is a dead end, this just means that we have to place another entrance card, and then we do that, right? Which is another fun way for us to explore another mechanic, but we'll get to that in a minute, right? So we're going to move again. We're going to go ahead and move our... Who do we want to move? We've already beat the 6. We got to beat the 4. Let's move our D8 into here, all right? We're going to keep our search and battle cards. So we can either keep our battle card and let the skeletons activate if we draw another card, right? If we draw another monster card at the end of our turn. Or there's a little bit of strategy here. Or we can activate battle now and do it ourselves. And I think we're going to do that, right? So we're going to go on ahead and battle now. So we're going to play our battle card. This says assign a hero in that room to each battle target. So we have 11 and we have 5 right there. If any targets aren't filled, we kill one hero in that room and then we re-roll all heroes in that room. And since we have defeated this guy, we actually get to flip his card, the skeletons here, which gives us the moon skeleton, which just look a little bit more difficult. So if we win, we flip it, and then we have to fight them again. Okay, this is actually really bad because now on this one they're a 5 and a 3, so they're a little bit weaker. But we flip it, now they're on their moon side, and we have to fight them before we even get to discard it. You see, I thought maybe there was loot on the other side, but we just makes them more difficult. See, that's the fun bit about this game. So I'm really happy that we battled them now. It helps us get it out of the way. That's fantastic. Okay, and now we can't move forward anymore, but we have to re-roll these 2. That's an 8 and a 3. Oh, thank goodness. Because if we draw that symbol there, that means that they're going to activate and fight us again. So we'll see. We have 2 cards left in our hands, so we're going to go on ahead and draw once again. 1, 2, 3. Our draw deck is empty, so let's go on ahead and shuffle this real quick. It's not looking, just shuffling aimlessly, not looking. There we go. Let's put our turn order back on top so we don't see it. And then we've got our new hand that ends our turn, which I guess we could have done gossip actually with those 2 cards. We should have did that. We misplayed. Let's pretend like we did so we can actually get a good example of the game here. Let's say that we discarded what would have been search and battle. We want both of those. We would have had to discard search and battle. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do it just for the sake of the game. And then I'll reshuffle again just for the sake of the example of the game because we want to do the town hall action. So we're actually going to move our 3 into here. He's going to do the gossip. So if you see on there, it has, if someone's in this room, you can discard 2 cards, or you could discard a loot card to gossip. You draw a hero quest and you place it onto the dead end card, which we actually have over here. Okay, we've reshuffled. Now, before we end our turn, I'm just going to go ahead and draw those. We got battle and move, so we didn't get search back, which kind of sucked. But we're going to go ahead and draw one of these hero cards. There are so many of these hero quest cards. Shuffle. And these are the cool cards that are going to build out your deck a little bit more. I mean, the loot does, obviously. Who knows? All right, so we're going to draw this one. Death Becomes Us. Berserker Quest. If your Berserker is in this card's room, you may play this card in front of you. Technically, he's not. But the quest is, players may discard, loot, and killed monsters onto this card. So 1 loot or 3 monster cards. Once it's complete, return them sunny side up to their decks, then flip this card over and add it to your hand. So there's something on the other side of it. But we get to play this on the dead end. Now, that ends our turn. It's evolving. Things are getting fun here. Okay, here's another mechanic we actually get to explore now, because we're going to draw another monster, and there's no open-ended passageways for us to put our monster in, right? Let's see what it is. It's goblins. They act on the D1, and it's a different symbol, so our skeletons don't even actually activate this turn. So that's kind of good. Anyway. Let's go over here. If there are no rooms in the dungeon with open passages, immediately place a new entrance near the village square and place the drawn monster into that entrance. So we'll come over to our entrances, and we can say there's an entrance right here, right? And the goblins are now in that entrance. So they're pretty close to getting up to our tavern or our city hall, whatever it is. Now we're back to the top of our turn, and we're in this room with the skeletons. So this guy can sneak past him if he wants to. He absolutely can. But we don't want to do that. We want to get our berserker in there. So actually what I want to do, and we have 4 moves, which is great. We're going to battle these skeletons just to get them out of the way. We take them out on an 8 and a 3. We know that. And we have our discard here. So we actually get to discard this card. And we can put it onto our forge or our ruined workshop to try to finish our quest. So we can put it onto our forge here. Theoretically, we could have put it on the Death Becomes Us. But technically, we don't have that quest unlocked yet because our berserker needs to get there to get it, right? So we're going to go ahead and just put it right in. All right, now our battle basic action is over. And we can move now. Now we need to remember these goblins. There are 3 of them. We need 3 people to be able to take out these goblins. We have 4 cards, right? We need a 4, a 3, and a 3. So we can move our berserker. Well, he needs to be re-rolled first because we just did the fighting. That's a 2 and a 1. These guys are tired. Okay, so we're going to move our berserker into here, all right? That's the end of that room. So he's going to get his quest. He's going to see something in here. It's going to give him this quest. We can go all narrative with it if we want to. But for now, let's just put this. We have this now unlocked. It's in front of us. This is going to be our other quest. Put it with our quest. Now we need to get 3 people over here to defend against the goblins. And we have a 4, a 5, and a 3. We can move all 3 of these guys, all these ones right here, into this entrance. But we have to do it. I guess technically we can't go any, we have to explore, but we can't go past the goblins because our sneak isn't low. Technically, our sneak is low enough because that's a 6 down, but we don't want to do that. We want to still explore, which I want to double check if there's a monster in a room. We still explore, right? I'm 90% sure that we do. If there's an open entrance, you explore. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to explore this dungeon a little bit too. What card do we got? It looks like we actually have 2 open passages here, and they go that way like that. So there's a passage that goes that way. So theoretically, this might be like, I'd put it like this, just to kind of build it in my head a little bit. It'd be like this. So this passage goes that right past that dungeon. Totally cool with that. So now we've explored. We have that open passageway. We have 1 guy in here, and we have moved. We're going to move these 2 as well. We have our 4. It's going to move in here. We have our 3. It's going to move in. Those are both of our move cards. Our hand is empty, which means our turn is over. We're going to draw 5 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 10 cards in this deck. Good to shuffle these up. Shuffle. Okay. Now we can't battle them because we don't have a battle card, but we're in this room with these goblins just staring at them. And now we're going to draw us our monster card from the bottom. We have the ogre. Oh goodness. And he's going to start down there at that entrance. March if no one's in the room, if he's activated, which the goblins are now activated because it shares the same symbol. You see that? Same symbol there. So the goblins are now activated. We can't even worry about that ogre. He's here doing his thing. So since the goblins are activated, they have run. Move 2 towards the village. Well, they're just going to run past us. I guess that's what they do. We didn't take them out. So they're going to run 2 past the village, which I guess is good because now we can kind of show off what that means. Showcase what that means. If a monster moves towards the village while on an entrance, the active player rotates a village building card to its damaged side, then removes that monster from the game. So our whatever is damaged we can't use. So theoretically, let's go ahead and damage up our tavern and removes the monster from the game. The goblins are just out now forever. Okay, fair enough. Cool, we have our quest. What have we not shown off yet? The loot yet. Okay, let's pretend for a sec that we had a search card. We were in our dead end, so we're going to pretend we're going to search. We're back on our turn, which actually we don't even have to pretend because he is in the dead end. This is the top of our turn, and we do have a search. So, search. Draw a card from, we discard a card, first of all. So we'll discard this prepare card. Now we search. Draw a card from the loot deck and place it on an empty dead end or treasure room and discard this. So we have our loot card here, and these could potentially be traps. We always draw from the bottom. It's a loot card. So search. Roll all heroes in this room. If the search target is met, add this card to your discard pile. So we're going to put them down there, and then all heroes in this room are re-rolled. We're on a 2 for our barbarian. This would have been fantastic if we didn't have to re-roll, but we do. So here's a chance that we're not going to make this. Here we go. That is a 6, but for the sake of the example, let's go on ahead and just say, that is a 2 again. Awesome. So we got lower than the search target number, which means we actually get to take this loot, right? So now we have it and add this card to our discard. So we'll put it over here where we've been discarding, and then we could actually draw into it and we could have it in our turn, right? And we could use this now to discard for other things. And it's worth way more than one single discarded card. It's worth like 3 discarded cards. But instead, we can say it's in our hand and we have 4 cards in our hand as well. On our turn, we can discard all 4 of those cards to now appraise this and flip it over. And now we have loot. When revealed, add this card to your hand. Oh, it's just extra loot. It's just way better. When revealed, add it right back to our hand. Okay, very good. Flip this card and return it to the loot deck to pay 2 instead of just 1. So now it's worth double since we got it appraised. But I was hoping for an example like this one. Let's pretend it was this one. Okay, we appraised it. Yay, we discarded the 4 cards. We flip it again. Now we have Jeweler's Rope. So when it's in our hand, we can discard it to flip a sun or loot card in your hand. And then we discard this card. Or for Rummage, we can discard this card and draw another. It's kind of cool. So at any point, we can flip cards back and forth, which is kind of cool. That's super mechanic. So we can say, I want to flip over this move card, so we're going to go ahead and discard that. And then we have Nighttime Move, so we can move 2 of our heroes instead of 1 of our heroes, right? Or we can flip over a loot to make it cost more. And every time we use it, we just discard it. So we could flip over 1 card every time. It's kind of fun. And there's other different kinds of mechanic cards in this that I just think are sick. Just like the 10-foot pole. You can fill 1 disarm target. They're disarmed for like traps. Pocket Dimension. Play this card in front of you and place any number of heroes in a single room on it. Endless Backpack, where you can draw 2 extra cards. You get a Trusty Shield, a Potion of Strength, etc. And this is, like I said, the biggest deck out of all of it. Or no, sorry, the quests were the biggest deck. This is the second biggest. Cool. Look, I hope that was a good example of play for you. I really do. All right. And I guess now at this point, we're going to cut back to the other guy who's still really, really excited about this game and is going to give you the rest of the review. Okay. I hope that this was good. And if you want me to come and do a full, real, actual play of Die in a Dungeon, make sure to leave a like on this video, okay? But I just love this game so much. It's my favorite card deck building game, right? It's not trying to be something that it's not. It's fantastic. There are some like deck building games trying to be like narrative storytelling games, and like it's really hard to make that happen in a deck builder. But this is just like, it's doing it. It's great. I love it. So cheers. Back to the other guy. One other thing I didn't show was the backside of the village quests. These all have extra buildings on them that have extra abilities that you can use once you finish those quests. So if we would have finished the Forge quest, for example, I hate the way I did that, you can now pay to upgrade cost on top of this card to add the gear deck to your discard pot, right? To add the backpack gear deck. So cool stuff. This is the smithy we would have unlocked. So you get more abilities to take on the final big guy. I think that's cool, but it needs more big guys. We'll talk about that in the review. All right. Hi, hello, and welcome back to me. That's right. We're going to do a little bit of a review here of this thing. Look, I've had it, okay? The day that I got it, I opened it up the minute it came in the mail. I opened it up, started reading, playing with it. I had it at work by the register. I like had these cards out and I was like playing with them. That's how excited I was to play this thing, okay? I've watched some other videos on it. I'm like learning it, loving it, okay? This game rules, straight up. It's one of those games that seems like a little complicated, but once you understand the mechanics, it's super easy. There's a lot going on under the hood kind of games, you know what I mean? The dice system is sick. The deck building feels good. And the whole village progression thing keeps you coming back, all right? It really does. That being said, the reason this is getting a 9 out of 10, I wish there was more variety when it comes to bosses and maybe some weird dungeon rooms, right? Not just the same, little blocks that we're putting around on our table, right? I'm sure you've seen that in the example. They all kind of look similar, just in different formats. I wish there was some weird stuff. Feels like a missed opportunity to me to not have put more than just weird loot rooms on cards. There are some cool secret room cards. I'm sure we talked about those. Seems like a lot of fun, but it seems like there's a lot of empty space on the edges of them cards where we could have put some weird shit. You know what I mean? Also, the reason it's not getting a 10 is I think this game needs expansions. There is an expansion, all right? Series 2, but it's just more dungeon cards, right? I want a Series 2 of the village cards, the loot cards, and the monster cards. I want a pack of that. And that's why at the beginning of the video, I said, if you're interested in this, go and get it. Let's support RollinKunz so you can make more stuff, okay? Serious about that. He's done Kickstarters in the past to get a print 2 going and all other kinds of stuff. And if he does it again, I'm on board. I'm sad that I didn't see the first Kickstarter. I just totally didn't even see it. Didn't know this existed until a little while ago. So with that expansion deck of cards that gives you more for your villages and more for your items and stuff, if you were to release those over time, this is a 10 out of 10. If you can get those expansions going, Dude, the mechanics are cool, especially with each dice being a different hero. Sick, right? And you're flipping over the cards. I'm going to do my best while I play to never flip over a card until I accomplish its task. I think that's sick. And you can do it because you're pulling from the bottom, right? That being said, even as is, without the expansions, this is a super solid dungeon crawler. The decks themselves are great for solo play. If you're looking to add some dungeons into your solo games, I know there are other resources out there for this kind of thing, but it's a bonus with this, okay? Even though you can get the 2 decks by themselves on the RollinKunz website. By the way, shout out again to that. You can get everything there. That's what we're celebrating. This is a super slick, really cool solo or duo game with quick setup, and you watch your party get absolutely destroyed while your deck grows stronger. I think this one is worth checking out. Obviously, you can't do one shots with it, but I think that's kind of sick, right? It's drop in, drop out co-op, so you can play by yourself and the homie could jump in and keep building up his own deck, right? You can keep his deck separate from yours. And I think that's awesome. And it's like 6 or 7 sessions of a whole campaign to take down the Lich, so you're actually looking forward to going and playing again, right? A lot of these little board games, you do them once and they're roguelikes, but you're like, why would I go back? Who cares? And this you want to, because you're building up your dungeon, you're doing this stuff. There's more reasons to play. Okay, I'm done ranting. Dude, this one's worth checking out. I'm gonna have a full text review of this on the website if you want to check it out. But for real, if you're interested into a game like this, you're considering it, you should just get it. That's all I'm saying. Let's support the guy so he can make more cool stuff so we can enjoy it more, all right? We're supporting indie developers, and I think that this is awesome. Thank you so much for checking this out. Thanks again to Rollin for sending this over to me. I keep calling you Rollin because I don't know if I'm saying RollinKunz, RollinKunz. I don't know which one it is, but either way, sick, dude. Thank you so much for sending it over to me. I hope I did it justice. These are all my thoughts. These are my own thoughts. They remain my own and remaining authentic because of you guys, you awesome channel members and Ko-Fi supporters. Because of your support, we get to remain authentic right here on the Grouch Couch. So thank you so much for supporting the show. And for real, rad. One of the coolest little board games I've played so far this year, okay? Rad. For now, take a seat on the couch and roll initiative, at least until you find yourself down in a dungeon trying to take out a mimic yourself. Roll on that, weirdos, and I'll see you next time. Toodaloo! Spin this time. Yeah.
Subscribe, just like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe, just like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe, like, share, like, share, like, share.